Let's talk about laziness. Most of us see it as this huge character flaw, right? A sign of weakness. But what if we've got it all wrong? Today, we're going to dive into this really powerful idea that laziness isn't who you are, it's just a series of choices. And that means procrastination is something we can actually understand and, more importantly, get a handle on. We're going to break down how to completely reframe this and start living on purpose.
This quote from Paulo Coelho, man, it just hits you, doesn't it? It really sets the stage for what we're talking about. It's the sharp, urgent reminder of what we lose when we do nothing. Every single time we say, I'll do it tomorrow, we're spending a day we can never, ever get back. Time is the one thing we can't make more of. So, let's make this personal. Seriously, just take a second and really think about this. Picture yourself at 80, looking back on your life. What would be your biggest regret? Not taking that trip? Not starting that project? Wasting time? Look, this isn't about making you anxious. It's about getting crystal clear on what actually matters to you, right here, right now.
3,700. That's it. That's roughly how many weeks you get in an average 72-year life. When you see it like that, as a number, wow, it doesn't seem like a lot, does it? Every single one of those weeks is a chance to do something. Seeing it as a finite number really lights a fire under you.
So, how do we actually make a change? Where do we even start? Well, it all kicks off with a massive shift in mindset. This first part is all about taking complete, radical ownership. Because honestly, without this foundation, no productivity hack or life tip is ever going to stick.
Okay, this chart right here basically shows you the fundamental choice we all have. Look at the left side, blaming others. Sure, it might feel good for a minute to point the finger, but it solves absolutely nothing. It just leaves you stuck and powerless. Now look at the right, taking responsibility. Yeah, it's harder at first, it takes guts, but it's the only path that leads to real solutions and puts you back in the driver's seat of your own life.
Okay, these points might seem a little blunt, I get it, but stick with me because they're actually incredibly empowering. The message here is simple. If you want things to change, you have to accept that you're the one who has to change them. Just waiting around for someone else to come and fix your life, well, that's a recipe for staying exactly where you are. The power is all yours.
To really hammer this idea home, there's this fantastic little parable that perfectly captures what self-reliance is all about. It's a simple story about a farmer, his wheat field, and a family of sparrows that have made a little nest right in the middle of it all.
So one day, the farmer walks by and says out loud, "Tomorrow I'll send my sons to come and harvest the wheat." The little baby sparrows totally freak out, but their mother is completely calm. She tells them, "Don't worry, when someone relies on other people to do their work, it rarely gets done." And you know what? She was right. A few days pass. The farmer comes back. This time he says, "Okay, plan B. I'm going to hire some laborers to do the job." And again, the young sparrows are terrified. And again, their mother calms them down. She knows that as long as the farmer is depending on someone else, there's no real danger. And sure enough, nobody showed up.
But then the farmer came back a third time. And this time was different. He said, "I've wasted enough time waiting for others. Tomorrow, I'm coming to harvest this crop myself." Immediately, the mother sparrow gathered her children and said, "It's time to go, now." She knew that the second a person decides to take action themselves, it's as good as done.
And that entire story boils down to this one powerful sentence. Nobody is coming to save you. Not your family, not your boss, not some lucky break. You have to be your own hero.
Okay, so we've got the mindset on lock. Total responsibility. Awesome. But now what? How do we turn that mindset into real-world action? Well, in this next section, we're going to load you up with some practical tools you can start using today.
Here's a really powerful way to think about things. Every single time you choose the easy path, scroll on your phone instead of reading, watching another episode instead of going for a walk, putting off that work, you're basically trading future success for a little bit of comfort right now. The problem is, all those easy choices add up, and they lead to a much harder life down the road.
But here's the flip side, and this is where it gets exciting. The reverse is also true. Making the hard choices now, doing the workout when you don't feel like it, making that tough phone call, just starting the work. That's what builds discipline. That's what builds momentum. And all those hard choices, they create a future with more freedom, more options, and ultimately a much, much easier life.
One of the best weapons against laziness is having a deep sense of purpose. And this Japanese concept, ikigai, is a perfect roadmap for finding it.
It's all about finding that magic spot, that intersection of four things: what you love to do, what you're great at, what the world actually needs, and what you can get paid for. When you find your ikigai, motivation isn't something you have to hunt for, it just shows up.
Okay, here's a super practical tool for you. The Pomodoro technique is genius because it's so simple. You just work, completely focused with zero interruptions for 25 minutes. Then you take a quick 5-minute break. And you repeat. It's perfect for breaking down those huge, overwhelming projects into small, manageable chunks of focus. It's a total game changer for just getting started. This one is all about working smarter, not harder. You've probably heard of the 80-20 rule. It basically says that most of your results, like 80% of them, come from a tiny fraction of your efforts, like 20%. So the big question you have to ask yourself is, what are the few things I can do that will give me the biggest bang for my buck? Find those things and pour your energy into them first.
I love this one. It's so simple, it's brilliant. Think about how often we put off tiny little things like answering an email or tidying up the kitchen counter. This rule is simple. If it takes less than 5 minutes, don't even let it hit your to-do list. Just do it, right now. It stops those little tasks from piling up and gives you this awesome feeling of momentum.
All right, so we've covered the mindset and we've got the tools. In this final section, let's bring it all home. Let's talk about what it actually means to live this way, to build a life that's driven by your own purpose, not by what other people expect from you.
And to really illustrate this final crucial point, there's one last story. It's a classic parable about a father, his son, and their donkey. And it's a powerful lesson about the trap of trying to live your life based on everyone else's approval. So as they're traveling, literally every single person they pass has an opinion. First, people criticize them for walking when they own a perfectly good donkey. So the son gets on. A little while later, another group criticizes the son for making his poor old father walk. So they switch. Then, you guessed it, people criticize the father for making his young son walk. They're just stuck in this impossible loop trying to please everybody.
So, in a final, completely absurd attempt to make everyone happy, they literally tie the donkey to a pole and try to carry it. Of course, the whole village just laughs at them. And in the end, by trying to please everyone, they pleased absolutely no one, lost their own common sense, and looked completely foolish.
And this quote just connects it all so perfectly. See, the father and son lost sight of their actual goal, which was just to get home. They got completely sidetracked by all the noise and opinions. The real tragedy in life isn't failing to reach your goal. It's being so distracted by what everyone else thinks that you forget to even set a goal for yourself in the first place.
So, after everything we've gone through today, from taking 100% responsibility to finding your own purpose, it all really boils down to this one question, a simple but massive question. Whose life are you really living? Are your day-to-day choices coming from your own inner voice, or are they just a reaction to somebody else's? The answer to that, well, it changes everything.